The moment God reveals what you were created for. You have felt the pressure of a life that does not match the weight inside your spirit. Something in you has been whispering that there is more. Yet every time you try to reach for it, fear rises and pulls you back into the familiar. That tension you feel is not confusion. It is the collision between who you are and who you were called to become. I brought you here because the time to hide from your calling has ended. You exist, yet you move through days that do not reflect the greatness I placed in you. You breathe, yet you feel the ache of a purpose you have not stepped into. You wake up with the silent suspicion that you were made for more, but you silence it because stepping into purpose feels dangerous, and it is. Your calling threatens darkness because your calling carries the authority of Jesus. That is why the enemy surrounded your life with distractions, insecurities, and voices that convinced you to shrink. If he could keep you small, he could keep you safe from transformation. But your spirit refuses to stay quiet. You perceive the void inside you, the hollow space where your destiny should be. You pretend you are fine, but something feels misaligned, incomplete, unfinished. That emptiness is not a flaw, it is an invitation. I reveal your fall, not to condemn you, but to open your eyes. Your fall began when you believed you were ordinary, when you accepted the lie that your voice does not matter, when you silenced your passion to fit into spaces too small for what I created in you. Your calling has been pulling you, stretching you, disturbing you, because you were never meant to settle. Everything in your life that has felt heavy, delayed, or confusing has been pointing to one truth. You are not living as who I designed you to be. The attacks were not against your life, they were against your purpose. And in this moment, I interrupt everything to tell you, your calling is awakening. Your transformation begins now. The silent war against your calling. Your calling has never been a small thing, and that is why the battle against it has been so fierce. You have wondered why confusion follows you at the exact moments you try to step forward. You have questioned why doors close without explanation, why certain opportunities slip away, why people shift their tone when you begin to grow. These are not coincidences. They are evidences of a silent war waged against the purpose I placed inside you. The enemy is not intimidated by your talents. He is intimidated by your destiny. Talent impresses people. Calling transforms lives. That is why the attack was not on your ability, but on your identity. If darkness could make you doubt who you are, it could make you abandon what you were born to do. Look back and see the pattern. Every time your spirit felt the urge to move, fear rose. Every time you came close to clarity, distraction appeared. Every time you prepared to obey, exhaustion hit your heart. This war was designed to keep you in a loop of almost, a cycle where you never fully step into what I wrote for you. But now your awareness is awakening, and what you see, you can confront. The enemy fought your calling because your calling carries authority, and authority breaks chains in others. You were not meant to live a quiet life of survival. You were meant to walk in the power of Jesus and influence the world around you. The heaviness you felt was not weakness. It was resistance. The insecurity that lingered in your thoughts was not truth. It was interference. And the voice that told you that your dreams were unrealistic was not mine. Your calling is proof that I chose you. That choice has weight. That choice has purpose. And everything that fought you fought because it knew what you would become if you ever understood your identity. Now the silence is broken. Now you see the war for what it is. And now you are stepping into a level of purpose the enemy hoped you would never discover. The day God opens your eyes to who you really are. There comes a moment when I refuse to let my sons and daughters walk another day believing lies that were never theirs to carry. Today is that moment for you. You have lived under the weight of identities that did not belong to you, shaped by voices that never spoke with my authority. You were told you were not enough, and you believed it. You were told you were too broken, and you accepted it. You were told your dreams were unrealistic, and you silenced them. But none of these voices reflected the truth of who you are. I open your eyes now because clarity is the first step into calling. You recognize your fall not as a moral failure, but as the moment you agreed with stories that diminished you. You lived small because you thought smallness kept you safe. You hid your gifts because you feared they would be rejected. You buried your purpose because you assumed someone else was more qualified. Yet even in your hiding, purpose never stopped calling your name. You felt it in the restlessness. You felt it in the moments where your heart knew you were created for more. You felt it in the frustration of staying where you no longer fit. These were not signs of failure. They were signs of awakening. I reveal to you now that the identity you carried was a shadow of who you are in Jesus. You are not defined by wounds, nor measured by doubts. You are not a product of your environment, nor a prisoner of your past. You are my chosen son, my chosen daughter, set apart with intention and designed with precision. Your calling is woven into every part of you, waiting for the moment you finally see yourself as I see you. And now you do. Your eyes open to the truth that your weakness is not a disqualification. It is the platform on which my power rests. The lies lose their authority as you rise into identity. The world around you may remain the same, but you are not the same. The shift has begun, and nothing can return you to who you were before this moment. Your cry awakens the heavens and activates your purpose. There is a moment in every calling when silence is no longer an option. You reach a breaking point where staying the same becomes more painful than stepping into the unknown. That pressure you feel is not punishment. It is the push of destiny. You have carried dreams that never died, desires that refused to disappear, burdens that made no sense until now. These were signals that your spirit was outgrowing the place where you tried to remain comfortable. When a son or a daughter finally cries out, heaven responds with precision. Your cry is not a sound, it is a surrender. It is the moment you confess that you cannot fulfill your calling in your own strength. It is the moment you stop negotiating with fear and start partnering with faith. And when that cry rises, something shifts in the unseen. Chains that were anchored to old identities begin to break. Patterns that once controlled your decisions lose their authority. Darkness that surrounded your purpose starts to tremble because it can no longer hide what I am revealing. Your calling is activated not by talent, not by knowledge, not by performance, but by surrender. When you cry out, you align your voice with my will. When you cry out, you awaken the blueprint I placed inside you before your first breath. This is the moment heaven leans in. This is the moment angels move. This is the moment your future begins to take shape. You think you are crying because you are overwhelmed, but you are crying because your spirit recognizes the timing of God. This is the cry that activates the purpose you were running from, the identity you were afraid to embrace, the transformation you feared you were unworthy of. Now you seal this awakening with a prophetic act, because what you declare in faith becomes established over your life. Write in the comments, I accept the calling God designed for me. This is not emotional expression, it is spiritual alignment. Now that your voice has risen, heaven has begun to move, and nothing will remain as it was. When Jesus transforms your life through your calling, when a son or a daughter finally steps into their calling, the transformation does not begin on the outside. It begins in the unseen places where fear once lived. You feel it now, the shifting of your inner world, the rearranging of thoughts that once kept you bound. This is the work of Jesus, restoring your identity before he restores your path. You used to believe that purpose was something you had to chase, but now you see that purpose is something that awakens within you the moment you align with the one who created you. Transformation is not loud. It is steady, deep, undeniable. It starts when you abandon the narrative that your life is accidental and embrace the truth that every detail was written with intention. Jesus takes what was fractured and builds the foundation of a new future. Suddenly, relationships look different. Decisions feel clearer. What once exhausted you now strengthens you. You stop asking for the approval of those who never understood your calling. You stop apologizing for the fire inside you. You stop shrinking to fit into places I never asked you to remain. This is the transformation the enemy feared, not because it changes your circumstances instantly, but because it changes you. And a transformed son or daughter walks with confidence, authority, and vision. They no longer move by emotion, but by revelation. They no longer follow fear, but follow purpose. They no longer bend under pressure, but rise under grace. And as this transformation unfolds, I call you to a second act of obedience. Subscribe to this channel and like this message so YouTube understands this message is not offensive and helps us reach more sons and daughters who need clarity, identity, and truth. Your engagement is a seed of purpose. It aligns you with what I am doing in your life and in the lives of those who will hear this message through you. Your calling is active. Your transformation is real. Your journey is only beginning. The final prayer that awakens your destiny in the name of Jesus. This is the sacred moment where everything aligns. Not your strength, not your effort, not your plans, but my purpose unfolding inside you. What you feel now is the weight of destiny pressing against the walls of who you used to be. The enemy fought this moment because he knew that once you understood your calling, you would no longer live as a victim of circumstance. You would live as a vessel of purpose. Your destiny was never lost. It was waiting for your surrender. The battles you faced were not punishments. They were indicators of what you were meant to carry. The resistance was not a sign of weakness. It was proof of value. And now, as your identity awakens and your purpose rises, I call you into a prayer that seals everything that has been activated in your spirit. This is not a prayer of fear. It is a prayer of authority. You speak now as one who knows who they are. You speak as one who accepts the calling I have placed on their life. Let your heart declare, Jesus, reveal the fullness of the purpose you designed for me. Break every lie that tried to define me. Destroy every fear that tried to delay me. Restore every part of me that was wounded, silenced, or hidden. Transform me into the person you envisioned when you created me. Align my steps with your will. Strengthen my spirit to walk boldly in my calling. Let my life reflect your glory, your grace, and your truth. I surrender my plans and embrace your purpose in the name of Jesus. As you speak these words, heaven moves, angels respond, chains fall, clarity rises. And now, to seal this moment of awakening, pray with me the prayer Jesus taught his sons and daughters. The Lord's Prayer is the declaration that aligns your destiny with the authority of heaven. Speak it with reverence, with conviction, and with faith, knowing that your life is being reshaped by the one who called you.